inside the city. You're going to go to that city. You're going to have something you're going to do. If it's whatever you guys
climb a tower or go into a museum or something.
Right.
Each city will have a cool thing that they're known for.
Okay, you guys got that? And then you're going to come back at dinner that night, and you're going to report to us what you found.
Right after we got off the train, we went into like this fancy hotel and asked for a map, and the lady was like really reluctant to give it to us, but she was like rolling her eyes and like, okay, fine, we got a map. And then from there we went to the like really famous theater, Teatro Reggio. It was really cool because it was all like the red velvet, you know, fancy like chandeliers and like golded embedded like sides, and then we got to like sit in one of the boxes that like the people would watch it from. Really pretty. After that, we got a little lost, I would say. I mean, not lost. We went off the beaten path, and so we got lunch, and Lizzie tried eggplant for the first time. She has mixed feelings about it. But we met this couple. We overheard the man speaking English, so we got super excited. And then we all cheered when we talked to each other. And it turns out his wife was born in Italy, and they live in Michigan. They live in Muskegon, Michigan. Yeah, he was from Boston, I think. They live in Michigan. Yeah, and it turns out he went to Notre Dame, and so we talked to them for a really long time, and they were just like a really sweet couple. And then another awesome person that we met was our waitress. She spoke pretty good English, and so after we were done eating, we gave her our map to ask her like where else should we go, because we were kind of lost by then. And she gave us a lot of good ideas and places that we actually ended up going to. She wrote cheese. Yeah, the street. So we found the cheese, but it was closed. So.
Some things that we learned. It's really not that much of a touristy place. Like every shop that we went into, none of them spoke English. They were really excited when we said that we were from Chicago. They all cheered like America, like every person cheered America. So that was kind of cool. And then after we went to lunch, we just like hit up a bunch of different shops.
We thought that since we were in Parma, we couldn't leave without getting Parmesan cheese. But literally every single place we went to, like by the time we were done like sightseeing and eating, it was like 1:30, and every single place was closed until 4:30. So we're like we can't leave Parma without Parmesan cheese. So we literally walked to every cheese place that was like, or at least we thought had cheese, and we actually found it on our way to the train. We walked and we saw a bunch of like, it looked like it was like a flea market. There was a bunch of like antique stuff, and we were like, oh, let's go check it out. And this lady, like, we walked in, and I walked in, I was like, hi, because sometimes when we say ciao, they like think we know how to speak Italian, so they just ramble to us, and we're like, okay. But then she was like, oh, Parmigiana, and we were like, yeah!
As soon as we said hi, she's like, Parmigiana.
Like we didn't even have to say anything else. So then she went to the window, got us cut us some Parmesan to like eat. We had some to try, and then we also brought some home for like our families. So
cool.
That's what we did.
It was a really cute little city.
Okay, we went to Modena, which we kept saying Ed, not Mode the whole day. And we actually, we couldn't help it, but we actually went to the Ferrari museum because Renzo, what's his first name? Renzo or Enzo Ferrari? Yeah. So he is from Modena, so we went to the Ferrari museum, and it was actually like, it was on the outskirts of town. We got to the train station, and when we talked to you guys, I think you guys said that it was like kind of farther away, but we ended up walking that direction on accident, kind of, so we just ended up going there. It was kind of expensive to get in, but we did it anyway. I took a lot of pictures for my little brother, and got him a souvenir. But it was cool. We got to see like all these old race cars, and like there were films in English and Italian being shown, featuring like his whole life and like making race cars and making sports cars. And it was really cool to see. Really modern building.
We kind of got to have the best of both worlds, I guess, because we saw the Ferrari Museum and we also got to head down to like the central, like the Piazza Central. And we used this tall, I don't think it was a chapel, it was more of like a white tower with a clock. Yeah, as our landmark. And I think it was a memorial actually. I don't know the name of it, but it seemed like it was for lost soldiers of World War I that helped in like the Nazi or World War II. That were involved in the Nazi war because there was like pictures of the soldiers
Bringing about the end of the war.
yeah, and that was really interesting.
Like a ton of photos all over, like the entire wall was filled with photos of soldiers.
So first, when we got there, we noticed that literally everyone was riding bikes, and we thought it was really cool. We were looking for bikes, but we couldn't find any because we really wanted to ride some too. But yeah, we just noticed there was a lot of people on bikes, and they looked a lot healthier than people in America because like Red Museum was riding bikes too.
Great observation.
And our special event was going to a castle, and we got to go into dungeons, and it
What was the name of the castle?
Castello Sensei. And there was a moat, so that was really cool. And we also got to go into these dungeons, like prisons, and they basically only had, like, some of them didn't have any windows, or some of them had, like, a grate. And then to get into them, the doors were, like, this tall, so we were, like, crouched, like, trying to get into the prisons. And then we, Kipper decided to go off the path, and we went to the end of this hallway, and we like looked down the hallway, and it was just like pitch black. It was so creepy. We felt like we were on ghost hunters. Yeah, probably shouldn't have gone there, but it was like whatever. We didn't know. But we were fine, but it was really, really creepy. Like the whole castle was dark in that area, so probably weren't supposed to be there, but it's fine.
And then we went to explore other parts of the castle, and there was one, there was like a couple rooms it was like a private like house back then, and they had really like amazing like paintings on the ceiling. It was really pretty, and I read somewhere that it said like it used to hold like a very like selective like collection back in the day, and like it was like really like important back then. So. Oh yeah, and then there was an orange garden which had been there ever since. Like that's one thing that hasn't changed in the castle, which is really cool.
Oranges and oranges, or
Like an orange
The
garden.
orange tree.
Like orange
Really good pots.
cool,
Yeah. So
It was just on a little rooftop.
really cool.
In pots.
There was actual oranges growing.
yeah.
And then so after the castle, we were just kind of hungry.
Yeah.
So we were hungry, so we're looking for food. But we were walking by and we see this huge, we didn't know what it was. I guess it's a church, but we didn't really know what it was, so we're like, oh, let's just walk in. And it's gorgeous inside. The ceilings are huge and vaulted, intricate, and painted.
Is it a
There's
name?
some mass going on. There was some mass going on, like, there's a lot of people in there, but that was really cool. And then we walked by this one place, and like Joss was like, "Is there sandwiches in there?" And so we just walked in. Okay, and everyone was speaking Italian to us, and we had no idea what they were saying. So like, just like going on and on and on. But Anna was talking to them about.
Oh, there was this cute little lady that helped us. She was great. She was really helpful.
Great, yeah. So there was this one thing that I don't know if you know what it looked like from the outside. It's like a croissant thing. It's like what is that? And there's like apparently there's macaroni inside, but it's like a croissant.
And deep fried macaroni.
Sort of thing. Yeah.
And it was, they said it was like typical of Ferrara.
So, I
So
tried
we ate it.
Yeah. So
So today, since a lot of the girls went to different cities, some of the staff decided that we would go to a different city as well. So we went to Florence. We took a train to a different city, but we actually had to switch trains, so that was a little bit of a different experience of having to switch trains. It was also the first time that I've ever bought a train ticket from a newspaper stand. I've ridden a lot of different trains in Europe, but never had to do that before, so that was a little different. But we safely made it to Florence. We only had a couple hours to look around and be back in time for the match tonight. So we didn't actually go inside of any of the different churches or museums, but we got to see quite a bit. We went to a giant cathedral. Like, it probably took up 4 city blocks, I would guess. It was huge, and it was green marble, which is something that I've never seen before. And we continued on to a former palace where there's a statue, or the famous statue of David, but it's a fake one. The original one is in a museum that we did not venture to because it was further away. But it was still cool to see, you know, the fake David. And then we went over to the river that's going through the city and went across a really cool bridge and just explored some more of the city, had some pizza as we walked around. We made it safely back onto the train, so I think it was a pretty solid day for us.
What was sort of your overall impression of Florence as compared to the other cities that we've been to?
Florence was really cool because it had a lot. I mean, the cathedral, I can't like explain how giant it was, which is new that, you know, in Venice it wasn't. It really, the city's cool, but in a different way. As in this one, like, it was really cool for its architecture, the cathedrals, and just how old but yet giant the different structures were.